My name's Rob, and I am the owner of Fitter Faster 50. I haven't posted in a long time, but this time I have to post because I came back from South Africa after doing the OTTER trail race. Now, this is not going to be a polished video. The audio is likely going to be all echoey, and you know what, that's okay. I think that's part of the reason why I'm making this video is that, you know, there's a lot of really polished, high-tech footage out there from people with all kinds of camera gear. And I fully intended to take my GoPro camera with me to South Africa to film the OTTER trail race. And by the way, if you hear click, 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 clack, 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 click, clack, clack, it's my dogs running in and out. And I'm not going to close the doors and try and create a studio atmosphere and try and make this all la-di-da with special lighting and lapel microphones and stuff. I've done all that before, and this time it's just going to be kind of raw because this OTTER trail race is kind of raw. And as you can tell, I don't have a script. I'm just going to ramble on. So as I was saying, I forgot my GoPro camera in Canada, and when I got there, I thought, forget about it. But my dad, who's in his 80s, when I got there, he said, please, can you do something? Can you make me a video? And I thought, how am I going to do this? So I went to a local little shop there in Gansbaai that sells tech gadgets. And I bought this little Yasido camera for 900 Rand, which is about 70, 80 Canadian dollars. And that's about how good it is. It's about $80 worth of camera and no image stabilization, very few settings, and I shot intermittently throughout the OTTER trail with this little camera. I sometimes got it into, I think, like night vision, which gave black and white footage, and then sometimes I had it in normal color vision, and then I had it running in my pocket for a while. Anyway, and then afterwards, when I was looking at this with my sister, who's into this kind of stuff for a profession, she was like, this is actually pretty cool. It's actually pretty raw, and don't edit it too much. Don't like mess with it too much. Don't try and make another Lani, fancy, polished OTTER video, because there are lots out there that already look like that. So, and I kind of agree with her. So I hope you enjoy the footage for what it is, raw and so on. He's training hard for the OTTER. As you can tell, he's doing lots of sit-ups and push-ups right now. Yeah, but this is the view from our deck. Isn't it gorgeous? I just had a really nice nap and just enjoying the beautiful, peaceful surroundings and the gorgeous weather.
But yes, sorry, on that note, those of you that do not know your time or anything, it is right here. You can see the papers either side of the start chute. Just a reminder, so our Abagedi will kick off in just over 15 minutes at exactly 6 o'clock. Today, the 9th time we'll be running the Classic. In just 3 years' time, we'll have the 20th edition of the OTTER African Trail, and we are excited to have you here this morning. Let's get this party started, get those drop bags off, and let's move across to the start line and get things going. Good morning and welcome to the beautiful and volatile Storms Way. Alright, so spectators, you can come and start making a tunnel on this side as well. Let's get them out onto the trail, so give us a nice tunnel. Excellent. Time for you to load up. Enjoy your beautiful journey along. 10 seconds. 5 seconds. Go!
Beautiful day, have fun, hydrate.
Okay. Hi for incredible.
Bye guys, have a lovely day.
Time to go.
10 seconds. J-Batch, 5 seconds. J-Batch, come on in.
So here we are in the rocks. We've got a sushi train of people waiting their turn, including me. It's a bit slow right now. Good recovery. Might not get this later, so we'll enjoy it. I mean, how often do you get to climb along rocks with the oceans crashing over there? Okay, past 4K. Richard unfortunately twisted his knee, got him to the aid station. They're going to help him get home. So his race is over. We're now in the second 5K to the next point. Got about 2 hours to get there before we cut off. So it should be very doable. Beautiful. So feeling good, pretty good. A little bit of tightness in the quads, and as expected, the body's starting to fill up, looking at all the hydration and also keeping the nutrition going, keep 20 minutes. So far everything's going as planned and as expected, except for Richard blowing out his knee. It's a real pity, but he's left in good hands. I know they'll get him out.
Welcome everyone, welcome.
Thank you.
The photos are good, I can see on your faces. You guys still
Don't drink Kleinbos Ruby.
drink at all. Not at all.
It's almost finished, no, the race. Is this over the mountain?
You want the good news? The one that I can kind of turn over a bit.
Alright, I don't know, we're at about 8.5K. It's been tough going actually, pretty slippery and slidey and not really runnable to be honest, it's more power hiking and jogging. But here we go, that's our next challenge. I will not be filming doing that.
There we go everyone.
Wow, what a view. Got a few kilometers to Scott Hut where I'm going to get some water. This is very runnable for about 1.6k. So for the next 1.6k, I'm going to just trot along here. Brought out the sunglasses because they're getting a bit bright. Not sure what to do about my temperature. It was quite warm and humid in the forest, but out here it feels pretty cool with the ocean here again. Anyway, the section through the mountain was quite technical, very steep up and down. Used my poles a lot, but felt pretty good. Everything is going well. Okay, sorry, I think the lens is dirty. Almost halfway. Climb up the cliff here, going all the way to the top. Beautiful views of the ocean. This is the Otter. It's hard, very hard. I'm trying to keep the camera running for a little bit while I climb. Probably not going to like what you see because it's going to be very jumpy. But I'll just try and climb with one pole so the camera doesn't go up and down. Yeah, it's quite a mission. Definitely the Grail of Trail, that's for sure. Very hard. It's actually more of a hike so far than a trail run in my opinion. Struggled to actually find anything to run. Just so steep and gnarly, and there's just not much runnable terrain. Anyway, enjoy the view. Okay, I'm going to put the camera away so I can come, okay? Okay, yeah, at the 90.8 station, just over halfway. Still feeling okay, and beautiful here. Gonna hit the trail again, refueled, gonna grab some oranges and get going. See you guys later. You're joining me. This is what I call a tabletop. We're at the top of a hill, it's pretty flat. This is the second part of the course and it's much more runnable. So join me for a little run. Don't get too dizzy. Actually, sorry, we'll have to edit out really bad bits. But let's go. Hey. This is one of two tabletops before we get to the Blokranz river crossing. So after this is a steep descent, a flat area along the beach or close to the beach I suppose, then quite the hill, quite a climb, and then after that a tabletop again, then a steep descent into the Blokranz, which I assume will be extremely slow and steep, and then we cross the Blokranz river, and as far as I'm concerned then we're basically almost home. Okay, we're descending towards the Blokranz river, and quads are pretty shot, toes are hurting. Looking forward to getting to the nice cold water, the Blokranz crossing here. Sea looks beautiful. Water's going to be really nice to get into for a few minutes while we cross. And yes, just descending mountain destination. Okay, that is the final climb of the day. See where that bucky is? Can you see it on this little dinky camera? That's where we came from, all the way down. It's a person walking into the cliff, all the way up. Now we're running along the ridge again of the cliff edge, like where those guys are. See them over there? Hey, I think, look at my watch, 33.64k. Got about 8.5k to go. Can do this, man. 8.5k. Time is 8 hours 16 minutes. It is 25 past 2 in the afternoon. So I've got 2 hours and 45 minutes to about 8k. I better get going. Okay, here we are. Here we are. Final descent onto the beach and home. It's been the Grail of Trail, guys. It's the Grail Trail. It's brutal, very hard, but almost there. Very steep going down. So I'm going to put this away so I can focus on this last little bit getting off this mountain. Thanks for watching. Final gate is coming up. 2k to go. 9 hours and 26 minutes. We'll make it under 10 hours. It's hard, but hey, that's why we do these things. There you go.
Yay! Woo! Come Robert! Come on! You can do this!
You deserve it, so get up and enjoy every second. Welcome to the Grail of Trail finish line. Woo!
that I just want to mention. When you get to the OTTER trail race check-in, you're going to get a bag. Okay, so when you check in, you get a bag, and this is the bag we got. Very nice. And on this bag, your bib number, mine was 774, is attached. Now, I didn't realize this. I thought they just did that so that they could account for the number of bags that they hand out. But what the deal actually is that you can use this as a drop bag at the start line. We did the classic route this year, so that meant the finish line and the race village was in Nature's Valley, and the start was at Storms River. And by the way, the transportation, the bus is taking us out there, flawless, perfect, no stress, just excellent. If you ever try to do this, the classic, I'm not sure how it works with the Reto next year, but don't even try and drive out there. We parked at Nature's Valley, got on a bus, and it took us straight to Storms River. But what I didn't realize was I could actually take this bag with me, and because it was cold and rainy that morning of the start, I could have actually taken my stuff and dumped it in this bag, left it at the start line, and they would have brought it back to the finish line. I discovered that at the finish line, when I had to do my mandatory gear bag check, and they said, do you have a drop bag? And I saw other people's bags there. It would have been helpful to know that, because I ended up being kind of cold and a little overdressed, and then having to stop and shove everything into my pack and Ziploc bags. And it would have been nice not to have to carry those extra jackets with me the whole way. Anyway, just so you know, I actually looked through the emails and I looked through the little booklet they gave us. I didn't see anything about drop bags or the ability to use this bag as a drop bag at the start line anywhere in there. So maybe I missed it, maybe it's in there. You can say so in the comments if I'm wrong, but anyway, that is the drop bag. The second thing is this. This is your little armband that you get when you check in, and this has to stay on. Now, what I didn't realize is this little white thing is actually a one-way tightener. In other words, when you cinch this down, there's little teeth in it, and you cannot actually loosen it up easily, and you can't get it off. And I don't like tight things around my wrist and my hands. It's just a personal thing. My training partner, running partner who joined me on this trip doesn't care. Anyway, so I had cinches down too tightly. I didn't like it, and I spent probably 2 hours using little knives and things to break the teeth in there to get this off my wrist and to have it looser. I don't like that system. I had this horrible thought that what if this gets caught in something on the route and it pulls tight and it's really clamped around your wrist and you can't get it off because it's very tough material. Anyway, so when you get this, I suggest you just put it on very loosely, enough that it doesn't come off, but also not so tight, cause a problem. I don't know if anybody else feels that way. And then let's talk about the bib for a second. This is the bib, and as you can tell, printed upside down at the bottom of the bib is actually the route with the mile markers, everything that you see on the finish line. And the nice thing is when you're running, you can actually flip this up, because on the bottom you can flip it up, you can read it. And this was really helpful for me. I could actually follow along, and especially when I'm getting tired, I could count how many climbs we had left and where we were. So really enjoyed that part of the bib. The Quebec Mecca Trail does it as well. And what I really like about this bib, it's like made out of a fabric, it's not paper, very durable, and a great memoir as well. And then of course this is the medal, OTTER in a day. I didn't make it under, was it 8 or 9 hours, 8 hours, but I made it. So that is the thing. I had done Ironman Ottawa on August, I think it was August the 3rd, about 2 months before the OTTER trail race. And my preparation was sort of split between preparing for this event, the OTTER and the Ironman, and they were two totally different events. So a lot more swimming, biking, running, and the Ironman course is pretty flat. I had a great Ironman, I must say. I had a fantastic race. Everything just went perfectly well, and just felt strong and wonderful the whole way through, and learned a lot on that Ironman day. It was the third Ironman I'd done, and I've done several ultra marathons, but I learned a lot about hydration, nutrition, and cooling, things that I thought I knew, and I applied them to the otter. And the biggest thing was taking in my calories every 20 minutes on the clock the whole way. And I used a fruit gel, humor that's available here in Canada, or Humi, and every 20 minutes, taking in salt every hour, 3 to 4 salt tablets. I used salt stick, and there were a lot of people that cramped on the otter, and I actually ended up dishing out some of my precious little salt tablets to people who were badly cramped, and it really helped them, and then they ran away from me, which is good. And then taking on hydration, which I'm also militant about, and that was the tailwind that I mixed with the water. I did not know en route that all the water we'd be drinking would actually be coming from the creeks and little rivers and springs along the Otter Trail. Even at Manchu Point, they asked me if I wanted electrolytes or water, and they both looked brown. I said, well, are you sure that's water? And he goes, oh yeah, that's just the color of the water here. So the water is brown tinged. I drank, there's just one place where they had a sign up, don't drink from this particular river. All the rest, no problem. I drank, filled up my water bottles, added the tailwind, and so far so good. I mean, who knows, but it wasn't a problem at all. If you are worried about that, then I suggest if you've got, for example, a Solomon vest or Solomon bottles, you can buy those cartridges that fit onto the cap that are filters if you're really worried. I just don't know, and you'll have to check on this. I don't know if they will also filter out the electrolytes and stuff that you have in your hydration solution. So it's critical to stay hydrated on this run. It's also critical if you're a salty sweater like me to take in your electrolytes so you don't cramp. And of course, it's critical to be on top of your nutrition. The final thing is that, you know, I had a good run. I loved it, by the way. It's an amazing event, and I'd highly recommend it if you're thinking about it. I definitely had the aerobic engine for it. My average heart rate based on my heart rate strap for the whole run was 130 beats a minute for a 56-year-old guy. That's not bad. But I wasn't strong enough, especially on the descents. My quads were shot. I've never felt as sore and at as much difficulty after a race as I did the Otter. My quadriceps, my quads were just trashed. And actually that's where I lost a lot of time, was on the descents, not the climbing. I found the climbs actually quite manageable. It was descending, whereas that fatigue set in, I started losing my confidence in the steep descents, and I really didn't want to fall. You know, the main thing about a race like this is that you want to enjoy it. You want to be in that moment and appreciate the beauty of that whole terrain and everything that you go through, and it's absolutely amazing, and I really want to do it again. But the big thing is, don't skimp on the strength training, and that's what I skimped on. I just didn't have time to get to it. And they warn you. All kudos to the Otter organizers. They send out these monthly emails with training programs, and they warn you, and they tell you in these training programs, like they give you these little training programs with the aerobic stuff and also the strength stuff. If you really want to do this race and do it well, take heed, listen to what they have to say, because it's true. There are 11 climbs. You're climbing 2,400 meters in total. The ups and downs are very steep. There is not all that much terrain that's easily runnable, except on what I call the tabletops. Like once you're on top of the mountain, you run across. Once you're down at sea level again, you're basically traversing a lot of rock and boulder and sharp, jagged areas. And I don't have the agility to navigate that easily. And when my legs were getting tired, I was getting more worried about falling and knocking all the teeth out of my head. I did have a couple of falls. Of course, those falls all happened on perfectly flat, runnable terrain. I think you just start relaxing because you think, oh, this is not going to be easy. And then your toe catches a rock or a root, and off down you go. But anyway, I would say don't skimp on the strength training. I'm going to, God willing, plan to do this again in 2 years' time. I really want to prepare. I want to see if I get there with really strong legs, really prepare with that physical strength plus the aerobic engine, what I can do on that terrain. And it's not about going faster, really. It's more about finishing better And not that I finished poorly. I did 9 hours and 45 minutes, which, you know, is in the bottom 30% of the field, but I finished and I made the cutoff for the challenge. I wouldn't have made it for the race. So I want to do the race. I want to get that sub 9 hour and or better. And I know it's possible, definitely possible. I realized as I was doing this race that there's a level of strength and fitness and agility that I haven't yet touched, and I'm keen to touch it. I'm keen to see how close I can get to that. And I think this is what the thing is about this. It's a personal drive and challenge to see what you can get out of your body. But it's at the same time, I've got to just say this. When I grew up in South Africa, it was a dream of mine from a young boy to be on the Otter Trail. And in those days, every getaway magazine that had an article about the Otter Trail I would consume. And I read everything I could about the Otter Trail, but I never got there. Never managed to do the hike. And then this race came up, and it's actually, for me, it was a lifelong dream. And it took 40 years to realize that dream, to get onto the Otter Trail. And it blew my mind. And I actually became quite emotional at one point. As we were getting close to the finish, I was so thankful and appreciative that I could have seen this beautiful part of South Africa. So it is stunning, it's amazing, it's beautiful, it's rugged, it's rough. The sea was angry that day, crossing the Blowkrans with those waves crashing over me in that cold water, then getting up on those cliffs again, looking down. And I've got hoogtevrees, you know what that is. I'm afraid of heights. So running around those cliffs, you know, I just had to focus on the path sometimes, but then stop and look and see that beautiful, beautiful vista of the ocean, the cliffs, the rocks, just amazing. And even going through the parts in the forest, the rainforest, where it's more humid, just amazing. Anyway, so I hope you enjoy this little video. It's rough, it's unrefined. It's not going to be edited. I'm going to try and put the clips in sequence, but it's what the Otter Trail really is and was to me, kind of a rough, unrefined, a little bit squirrely, but amazing. So enjoy.
Keep on moving on.